Hey guys, how's it going? So I know some of you were expecting a video last week. I'm sorry I could not post any video last week because my grandfather passed away on the 11th of June. It was a shock for all of us. It was something which happened all of a sudden, and yeah, so that's what happened, and I miss him a lot. Anyways guys, let's get on with the video. So I started reading Atomic Habits by James Clear a few days ago, and I'm loving it so far. It's a really nice book. It's a value-packed book which talks about habit building in general, how you can build good habits and let go of the bad ones. So I thought I'd share a few things from the book with you. The fundamentals. So here we go guys, here's some information from the book. The mindset you need to have to build habits. I hope this video helps you and gives you a head start for building new habits and perhaps letting go of bad ones as well. So without any further ado, let's get started guys. Firstly, let me just tell you why habits are so important. Why do habits matter? Well, it's a no-brainer, but the quality of your life depends upon the quality of your habits. You build good ones, life would be easier for you. You build bad ones, so will be your life. And that is why you should be constantly building new good habits. Ultimately, the life you live boils down to the habits you adopted or built. Habits are your gateway to unlocking your full potential. Secondly, tiny changes can make a huge difference. We need to understand that changes which seem small and unimportant at first can compound into remarkable results. The story of the British cyclists is a perfect example to explain this. This story is from the book. This is a true story, by the way. This is how it goes. Since 1908, for nearly 100 years, the British cyclists have just won one single medal in the Olympics. What's even worse is that no British cyclist has won the Tour de France, which is the biggest cycling event in history, in a span of nearly 110 years, which is crazy. All of this mediocrity existed until the year 2003, when the body governing British cycling hired David Brailsford. What was so special about him was that he was committed to a strategy called aggregation of marginal gains, which was all about improving every single aspect of something by 1%, and that's exactly what he did. He looked into the nitty-gritty of the bicycles as well as the cyclists. He made changes to the seats of the bicycles, asked the cyclists to wear electrically heated shorts so as to maintain ideal muscle temperature. He even found out suitable pillows and mattresses for the cyclists so that each and every one of the cyclists sleeps well. He even got the trucks transporting the bicycles painted white so that the cyclists could wipe out tiniest of specks of dust so as to ensure optimal performance of the bike. After all this effort, guess what happened? Just 5 years later, after being ridiculed for almost a century, the British cyclists were on an exponential growth trajectory. They bagged several medals in the Olympics and also won the Tour de France. I found this story incredible. That's the power of 1%, the concept of marginal gains. Now imagine applying the concept of marginal gains in your habits. We all have a misconception about habits that we need to be making massive improvements or progress every single time we take action to build our habits, to achieve massive results. We put pressure on ourselves to make insane progress in one go rather than relying on small improvements on a daily basis. Making huge and insane improvements or progress in one go is certainly not plausible because you'll probably end up giving that habit altogether, disappointed that you didn't make much progress. Marginal improvements on a daily basis are far better in the long run. Now, these marginal improvements might seem inconspicuous to you at the moment, but they do add up. Imagine improving in something by 1% every day for a year. That does add up to a lot, right? This is the compound effect of self-improvement. It is in many ways similar to compound interest in investing. Just as your money multiplies through compound interest, similarly the effects of your habits multiply as you repeat them. The results become apparent at the end of a long period of time, say 1 year. Just as I said in one of my previous videos, little progress made over a period of time can yield staggering results. Now the compounding effect can be positive as well as negative. Positive in good habits and negative in bad habits. If your negative habits persist over a long period of time, they can have a detrimental impact. The compounding effect is a very practical approach to habits. Exercising for 1 hour a day for some days does not make you fit. Exercising for 20 minutes for a long period of time makes you fit. So that's all about the compounding effect. Now you need to understand what progress actually feels like. Here's a situation. Suppose you're in a really cold room and you keep an ice cube in front of you. Does the ice melt? No, right? Why? Because the temperature of the room is really low for the ice to melt. But if you go on increasing the temperature from say 20 degrees Celsius to around 28 degrees Celsius, does the ice melt? Not yet, because the temperatures are still not favorable for the ice to melt. But what if you go on increasing the temperature from say 27 to 30, 31, 32? What happens now? Maybe 32 degrees Celsius is the favorable temperature for ice to melt. And that's when the ice starts melting. And as you keep on increasing the temperature from 32 to 33, 34, 35, the ice melts faster. Now progress is similar to the melting of an ice cube. You don't see it until you reach a certain level. Now once you reach that certain level or threshold by being consistent and improving marginally on something, you will see massive results and insane improvement. If you feel like you're struggling and are not making any progress with your habits, it's purely because you haven't reached that level yet. It's like the temperature hasn't reached 32 degrees Celsius yet. It is really important to be patient with your habits. You'll surely see results. And that's where a lot of people fail. They don't see the results, so they quit instead of hanging on. Change can take time before it happens all at once. All the work you did before does count. Don't worry. Fourthly, you should focus on the system rather than the goals. Let's say you want to build that habit of exercising. Your goal probably would be to lose weight. But does only setting rock solid goals help you achieve it? No. At the end of the day, it is the system which you have put in place which matters the most. It is advisable to devise a system or process for your habits such that you make marginal gains every single day and you feel good about yourself rather than having to wait for you to feel good once you reach that goal. The systems of your habit should be a lifestyle and should not be restricted towards a goal. You shouldn't give away with the habit of exercise once you get fit or achieve your goal. You should make it a continual process. Lastly, you need to bring about a shift in your identity. Imagine this situation. Two people trying to quit smoking are offered cigarettes to smoke. The first person says, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit." That's a pretty reasonable response, right? But the second person says, "No thanks, I'm not a smoker." What's the difference? The first person wishes to be a non-smoker, but the second one has already shifted his identity because he's trying to quit smoking and is already referring to himself as a non-smoker. Why is this so important? To adopt a good habit, you'll have to change your behavior so as to take the necessary actions for building that habit. For example, to build the habit of exercising, you'll need to have the behavior of an exercise freak. That's where you'll need to know that behavior comes with identity. If you still identify yourself as an unhealthy person, how will your behavior change? Instead, if you look at identity as your goal and say to yourself that your goal is to become a healthy person rather than losing weight, That's the ultimate way to make habits stick. You will do things in alignment with your identity. If you identify yourself as a reader, it will be easy for you to stick with the habit of reading because your behavior is a reflection of your identity of you being a reader. But if you set your goal as reading a book, then your inner self-doubt and your previously assumed identity of you, who you are, that is a non-reader, will take over, and it will greatly affect your habit building process. Think about it, it makes a lot of sense. When you shift your inner identity to a healthy person, your behavior is aligned to that of a healthy person. You're no longer putting effort to change your behavior. You're simply behaving as what you've identified yourself as now. Give identity more preference than outcome-based goals. Change your beliefs and identity rather than changing outcome-based goals. The best way to do that is to firstly decide the identity you want. Secondly, prove it to yourself with small actions. If you want to build the habit of reading, set your goal as to become a reader. Start reading a little every day. Every time you read, you become a reader. And eventually, the identity of a reader will become more apparent and you'll start behaving like that, and you'll also start looking at yourself as a reader. In conclusion, habit follows behavior and behavior follows identity. Your beliefs of who you want to become is crucial. Guys, with that we come to the end of this video. Now I'd suggest you take every point into consideration and give all these points in this list a thought. It will really help you. And if you found this video useful, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to press that like button, and lastly, press that bell icon just so you get updated every single time I upload a new video here on this channel. So that's it for this week, guys. I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye bye. See you next week.